All right. Mic check. I'm good. So I'm Max Ceron. Ceron, CWBA Association Welding podcast. Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest. Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWBA Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and as always, we are looking for the best representation out there for this beautiful welding community that we call here in Canada through the Canadian Welding Association. Today, I have a wonderful guest, Agata Derda, who's coming to us from here in Ontario, but we're going to discuss the winding journey of her career. Agata, how are you doing today?
Oh, hello, Max. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me over and to be participant in this wonderful experience.
You know, it's interesting. As soon as we went online, we should have started recording because we already had a great conversation before we even started the show.
Yes, you're so easy to talk to. I really appreciate you already. Yes.
Awesome. So I should start with
Yes.
Dobre Dien. How you doing?
Dobry dzień, yes.
Yeah.
Or rather, dzień dobry. Yes. I'm doing great. We have pretty nice day here in Cambridge today, and I've been, going out and then doing things around my house today. So it's sort of like a loose day for me, which I always appreciate when I have those.
Good. So people that are listening right away are going to say, "Hey, she's got an accent. She's got an accent."
Absolutely.
And I said to you, Dzień dobry, Dobre Dien. I grew up with a friend from Poland, so you are yourself from Poland, correct?
Yes, I'm Polish, but my accent, I was told many times, is pretty tricky to guess because I learned my English in Ireland. So there is a twist.
So let's start with where you were born. What town were you born in?
Okay. So I was born in relatively big city considering Polish standards. It's called Wrocław, and it's around a million people. It's west of Poland, and I basically grew up there and lived until I was 24.
Okay.
Or 20, 25. I think I was 25 when I think I was 24. I'm sorry, when Poland entered European Union, and year after a bunch of countries opened up borders for Polish workers to emigrate. So this was sort of my chance to go and make myself a better life somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, Poland had around 20% of unemployment rate. So I had a job. But,
Yeah, what were you doing in Poland at that point? 24 years old, you were already working or studying,
I was working. I had actually a bunch of different jobs, but I was mostly a cashier somewhere in one of those, big stores. One of the funniest jobs I ever had was actually roller skating in one of those stores. This was a thing in the 90s. And
it was, I
20s.
remember.
Yes, so I had this gig for a few months. I was roller skating in store and delivering, numbers for produce or whatever to cashiers that didn't have labor or whatever. So I did a bunch of things, but nothing seemed to be like super promising in terms of career. So I wanted to leave Poland, and actually my primary goal to leave Poland was to go abroad and study art. Because
were you always very artistic? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was always very handy, and this is one of the best things that I have from my father. There aren't many, but one thing that definitely I have from him, and thanks to him, is that I am very handy. Because when I grew up in Poland, we had nothing. And I cannot say it was poverty because basically it was communism. Everybody wasn't, on the same boat. People had nothing. And to give you an example of this, like I remember when I was a kid, and there was always shortage of toilet paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when stores got delivered toilet paper, people would go like 5 a.m., line up in front of the store, right? all the toilet paper, whatever
Yeah.
pallets, how many they had, it would go like that, and then you would go home without it, right? The like
Then you'd
maybe
have to find
maybe
out who got some.
yes, or actually no, there was a different solution because there was only produced so much, and only I don't know 30 people in the lineup got the thing, and you went if you missed it, you went home with nothing. We used a newspaper, right? So there was
Newspaper,
always
yeah.
a basket with newspaper clippings, and you had to you could catch up on your news reading, and and then use this because there was no other option, right? So, and this was it was like that with everything, right? So, not we didn't have like art materials that kids have right now, or I have access to, or building materials, nothing.
Mhm.
So my father, because of this, was very resourceful, and he always found a way to make something out of nothing, and he sort of inspired me to be the same. So when I was a kid and I was invited to a party, a birthday party, of course I didn't have money to get anything. There was not much to
Yeah.
get, so I was making gifts for people, right? I was
Yeah.
so I started being handy and artistic very early in my life, and also I had an uncle that inspired me because he was the one artist in the family that because when you don't have this example in your life, it's very hard for you to even think that, oh, I'm going to be an artist when I grow up. But I
Yeah.
did have
It-
this example. I had an uncle that was wonderful artist. Of course, as a kid, I did not understood that he was also extremely poor, right? So I didn't think about the
yeah.
consequences of pursuing this type of career. But early on, I was like art and making something. This is my thing. I'm gonna pursue
Mhm.
this. So, but I couldn't do it in Poland later too because of the money issue and because of the prospects and because of all of this. So I went to Ireland and I started pursuing
So why
BFA.
why Ireland though? When you're looking at all of Europe and you think that you are an art lover and you love art, when I think of art in Europe, I don't think of Ireland necessarily. I
No,
think of
no.
like France or Italy or like
Yes,
these.
absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. But everywhere, like you know, because I grew up sort of like poor, and actually I'm the only person in my immediate family that ever pursued like a higher education.
Education, yeah.
Like I didn't have much to fall back on. Like I didn't have much or many examples. And when I mentioned to my lovely, beautiful, loving friends that I'm thinking of going abroad, they said, "Don't go. You're just gonna go end up in a factory, and you will, it's gonna be hard. It's too risky. Stay put in Poland. It will get better." So I had to I was on my own in this decision, right? And I had
Hmm.
to sort of figure out like what's the least risky thing, or what's the best potential sort of option for me to succeed, and
Yeah.
not to go back to Poland and say, "Oh, you were right, guys. This was a shit show." So the simplest way was to move to country that has English as a second or a primary language.
Hmm.
And for those reasons, there were only few choices left
Yeah.
in Europe, right? I didn't want to go to UK because UK was at the time really saturated with Polish people already.
And they were having problems too.
Exactly, exactly. And Ireland was welcoming. And my English was actually very, 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 very basic at this point, right? So I
Hmm.
needed to go somewhere where they were desperate for people to work. Because I had, in my idea for this was like a sort of like long-term plan.
Yeah.
Let's just move somewhere,
You're
right?
not planning on going home.
Exactly, exactly. So like I'm gonna move somewhere where they welcome me, right? Then I will start learning English by default because I have to. I will have some money so I can pay someone for extra lessons, right? When I improve and I have all of those ducks in a row, then maybe I can sign up and start studying, right? So this
Hmm.
was my idea. And then when I finish studying, we'll see. I just planned it for a few years. And this
Yeah.
is what happened, right? I went to Ireland, started working, guess where, in a shop as a cashier. And then we had this board for like local news. And this was small village in the middle of Ireland. There was
Okay,
nothing there.
I was gonna say, like, where in Ireland did you end up?
Yes,
You know?
well, it was the village is called Abilix, and it's in County Laois.
Mhm.
And at the time, there was only one grocery store. Okay, few churches, 10 pubs, 2
Mhm.
banks. That's it, and bunch of houses. So everyone knew each other. Blah blah blah. So we had this board for local news or what people had were looking for or whatever. And I posted a note on this board that I'm looking for someone to teach me English, right? To be my English teacher. And one time this woman came and or a few days after, and she was looking for me and we started chatting. And she's like, you know what? I'm also an immigrant and I will gladly help you learn English. She was actually an English teacher as well. And you don't have to pay me. Just come to my house and help me like clean the house or help me with house chores. So this was like amazing because I could
Yeah.
go and hang out with her. Not only she was teaching me like grammar and all that, but I also could be chatting with her those several hours.
And make a
Like-
friend too, and like
and
you're
make a
new,
friend.
right? Yeah.
Exactly, and make a friend. And what happened was, like, second meeting of ours or something, she says, like, we started talking, like, what's your plan, blah, blah, blah. And I say, I love art. And she's like, oh my God, my husband is a painter. He's like professional landscape painter, pretty well known in Ireland. I love art and I appreciate artists so much. And she took it upon herself to help me to get accepted to the school in Ireland, right? To
Mhm.
the school I picked. So I don't think I would start school as soon as I did, like only a year after I went to Ireland, if it wasn't for her help. Believe it or not, we are still in touch, even though
That's awesome.
it's been like 17 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was like so yeah, I did that in Ireland. I finished my BFA in Ireland, and then I was actually trying to get some type of job that was
Related to your career.
related. Yes, thank you. Or that gave me like artistic or some type of creative freedom. But this was also very hard because
Mhm.
at some point I realized that Ireland is too small.
It's a small country, yeah.
Yes, it's a small country, and even though I was studying in Galway, which was much bigger, obviously, than the village I first started in, it was still pretty small. And then we figured, my partner and I partner I'm still with, we decided we are going to move somewhere else.
All right, so let's back up. I got a couple questions right now.
Okay, yeah.
So first of all, going from Poland to Ireland to this small town, how much of a culture shock was that first step? Was it
yeah.
tough, or did you feel like it was it discouraging? How did you feel about that first immigration?
It was like a whole array of different feelings and emotions at different points during my 6 year of stay in Ireland, because yeah, the cultural shock was enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Irish people, they're in so many ways very similar to Polish people. Like, we like to drink, we like to have fun, we like to joke, but in terms of like social expressions, there is actually very little overlap.
Yeah.
Like, to give you an example that might be a little bit weird, but
I like weird.
Okay, good. This is something I noticed because I worked as a at a checkout, right, in Poland,
Yeah.
like as a cashier, and then I started working as a cashier in Ireland. So I had this opportunity to compare those two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Ireland, it's very rude not to look for change when you're paying for shopping. And this was like when I did that. Let's backtrack. When I did that, people still use change, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And money. It was not as popular to use credit card, right? So people mostly use the change and money to pay for their groceries. So in Poland, if you had to pay, 11.23, it would be rude to give someone 20 without even pretending that you're actually looking for this change to give them that 23 cents or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just a cultural thing that exists in Poland. I don't know that this was then. I don't know how now, but in Ireland, completely opposite. You don't want to be holding back the queue, right? And it's called queue, not line.
Yeah.
You don't want to be looking for your change and hold up the line. You just give you whatever you find in your wallet, like
Get out of there. Yeah.
and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then you sort of like quickly gather your change and you're out the door. So very, very simple thing like that. Another thing, Polish people are very straightforward and we sort of resemble Germans in that way more than anybody else in Europe. Like, because we think if you're beating around the bush too much, you're wasting somebody's time, right? So you should communicate whatever is necessary directly, the quickest, to the point, right? And this gave me a lot of problems at the beginning of my career in Ireland, because this is the most rude thing there is in Ireland. You cannot approach somebody without engaging in small chit chat about the weather first.
Yeah. How are things going? How's the wife? Or blah blah blah. Yeah.
Or oh, how freezing today, or how cold. This is a must. You cannot go straight to the point. It's it's the meanest thing somebody can do to you. So.
And then the other question I had is, you were coming to the end of your Irish stay. You went through your college, you went to for fine arts, which I have a daughter that went through fine arts. She is a music teacher now. But so I know the fear of going to school for fine arts, because there's very few jobs you can do with a fine arts degree that will pay well and that are in your career, that are actually related to whatever you did, whether it's visual arts or music or whatever it is. So you're finishing this and you're about to embark on the scary part of your next stage that we're going to get to. But you said you were going with your spouse. So did you find a spouse in Ireland, or did you bring one from Poland?
Actually, this is we were told a very romantic story, because we actually met on the way to Ireland.
In the plane?
On the bus departure, thing.
Oh, yeah.
Bus station, yeah. It wasn't entirely accidental, because we both were set to go and work for this company we were going to, right? But I didn't know this girl, right? And it's a girl, it's a woman. So, we met on this bus stop and, hey, hello. And she's waving to her boyfriend goodbye, and I'm waving to my then girlfriend goodbye. And here we go to Ireland. And a year later, we started being a couple, because things happened in this year. The boyfriend stayed in Poland. My girlfriend went somewhere else. Complicated again, but we stuck around since then. So we basically met on the way to Ireland, and we've never separated since then.
So you and your partner had partners, left partners, found each other, and did both of your ex-partners become partners?
Wouldn't that be twist? No. No. But it turned out that my partner's sister worked with her then boyfriend in the same factory, and people know each other, and it's all funny.
So what was
sometimes not funny that way? Yeah.
What was your partner doing in Ireland? Was she there to study as well, or was she going to university? What was she doing?
So she was working all this time when we were in Ireland together. She worked, she worked. She started as a receptionist. Sorry, and then she got interested in bookkeeping. So she learned bookkeeping, and basically this is how we left Ireland.
Mhm.
I got accepted to graduate studies in Canada, and she was bookkeeper at the time. So when we moved to Canada, bookkeeper and associated occupations were on the list of occupations in demand. So
Mhm.
this is how it was actually easy for us to extend our stay. Right now, my partner did went through schooling in Canada, and she quite recently, like only a year ago, completed her CPA.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
So she started as a receptionist,
Accountant, yeah.
bookkeeper long time ago, and now she's a CPA.
That's awesome. So back to Ireland now. Why Canada? You're in Ireland and you're looking to go somewhere else now.
Okay,
So how did you pick Canada from the list of the world?
okay, there were two very crucial reasons for why Canada. One was because I experienced how it is to be in a country where you don't really know the language very well. And when I moved to Ireland, like I mentioned, my English was very, very basic. And when you don't know language, people treat you like
Differently.
you're, yeah, they sometimes don't want to be, but they are condescending, or
Mhm. They're not
they
patient.
they're not patient. No, they're not patient. But mostly they assume that you're not very smart, right? But languages, people that listen, languages take time to master. So yes, be
Especially
patient.
English.
Yes, especially English. So if you know someone that speaks very little English, this person is fluent in their own language, right? And they will catch up sooner or later, and then they will
Yeah.
tell you they're, And so anyway, we didn't want to go back to being like not knowing the language. So after 6 years in Ireland, we knew English pretty well, and we decided we have to again now pick a country that has English as a primary language,
Hmm.
so we don't have to start over. So again, only few countries were sort of like reasonable, right, and on the table for us. So then we started thinking we want to pick a country that embraces LGBTQ community and at least has a gay marriage as
Hmm.
its human right.
And did it have
And
that in the UK yet?
no, not at the time,
No,
not at the
because
time.
Canada was the
And
first country in the world, I think, or one of them.
one of them, yes, I
Yeah,
think I'm not sure if the first one, but I know then when we were
yeah.
looking, Canada was one of maybe 3 or 4 countries in the whole world, and I think the only one that was that had English as a primary language, right? So the choice was pretty simple for us in that. But then, how do we get here, right? We have a goal. We picked the place. How do we get here? And so then we actually in Ireland they were organizing those meetings for people that wanted to immigrate to Canada. So we went to one of those and we sort of tried to sign up through this, but it was very difficult. And then I figured I in my school in Ireland I was doing very well, right?
Hmm.
I was awarded top of the class. You know, I I was doing very well. I had very good grades. I already had a bunch of exhibitions in my portfolio. So I knew that if I apply maybe for master's degree somewhere, this is the way for us to move.
Mm.
So we picked a bunch of places in Canada, a bunch of universities, and University of Alberta was one of those places. And I sent my application. The first time I didn't get in. Next year, I tried again. I worked on my portfolio a little bit more, worked on my experience a little bit more, and I got into 2 universities, and we picked Edmonton as the place where we are moving. And this is how we moved. This is how we arrived in Canada in 2011.
Now the prairies. I live in Saskatchewan. The prairies, Edmonton, Calgary, Regina. You know, we first of all, our universities, our colleges are very open to immigration. We have
Yes.
very high number of immigrants. Many immigrants come to our provinces because we have a problem. people love to come study where we are, but they don't like to stay.
It is true.
So, you arrive in Edmonton. What was the culture shock from Ireland to Canada? How much of a difference was that?
Well, this was less of a cultural shock than moving to Ireland from Poland, for sure. But well, I'll tell you this: the first few days after we moved after we arrived in Canada in Edmonton, there was a news in newspaper that someone put fire to LGBTQ center.
No.
Yes, and we were like, "Oh, what is happening?"
Maybe we made mistake.
Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe it's not as all rainbow here as we thought. But then we sort of, there was definitely a big dissonance between the campus and how liberal people are at University of Alberta, and students and staff and faculty, and then everything else. And Alberta and Edmonton, they're not really known for being liberal anymore.
No,
right?
They're kind of they call it like the redneck of Canada,
Exactly. So this was sort of one reason, and maybe one reason for many people that decide to study there, but they don't stay, is because studying there, you're like in this bubble. And you cannot stay in this bubble unless you are hired by the university, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I graduated, we were like, okay, now we are outside
of the bubble.
We are outside. We are out of the bubble. We now have to find maybe another place that suits us more. So yet again, we started looking for, but we knew by then we want to stay in Canada because overall our experience in Canada was delightful.
So you finish your master's.
Mm-hmm.
She's working away, making money.
Yep.
So things are okay.
Yes, things are okay. My student visa, expired, but then we can extend our stay based on the fact that my partner is in accounting realm, right? So we did that. The first thing when what we did was to apply for permanent residency. And all of this is happening sort of, and we try to figure out where to go. We are deciding we're going to hit Toronto. Why? Because, it's Toronto, because then after I graduated, again, I found myself in a situation where I tried to look for a job that actually is related to my studies. And I tried to make art, and I get a lot of positive feedback and a lot of recognition. I win some awards, I have some exhibitions, but it's still not enough for me to support myself. I still need my partner to support me, and I don't want that. I want to be contributing, right? So we're thinking, let's move to Toronto.
Bigger center, more people.
Yeah, more people, more opportunities. Maybe we'll get lucky there. If not, at least we'll be closer to our families in Poland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because traveling from Edmonton was like a 12-hour journey, right?
And there's a big Polish community in Toronto too.
Yes, but this was never our primary region to move anywhere. Because initially we moved out of Poland sort of
to get away from
culture. Yes, Polish people are not known for being extremely open, or more so they're known for being homophobic, right?
Yeah,
which is sad for me to say, and I sort of make fun of it, but it's really kind of sad. But we wanted somewhere where we felt embraced, safe, right? Most of all, we wanted to be somewhere where we felt safe, like we can just be ourselves and
just be normal,
just be
free. Yeah,
just be free. And you know what? That moment when we got our Canadian passports, like we were both crying, like, oh my God, this is freedom. This passport is freedom, because
you can go anywhere, you can do anything.
Exactly. And you never have to go back to Poland if you don't wanna, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we moved to Toronto. I had a bunch of odd jobs there as well. And what happened then? Let's see. Okay, so
Well, at this point, have you guys got married yet?
hmm,
Because I feel like we missed a wedding there somewhere.
we did sign a partnership in Ireland in 2007,
Mhm.
and legally now, because UK has marriages, we could make this certificate to be our marriage certificate, but we would have to go back to Belfast and tell them to switch it to marriage, which we haven't gone to Belfast since, but if we ever there, we might just do that. Yes.
Well, you don't want to have a big wedding here in Canada?
No, we are not that big on big shiny things. You know,
Oh,
we are pretty modest people. So even for our partnership signing, you know, celebration, we only had closest friends. There were only 13 people. My parents didn't come, even though they were invited, because they were never really supportive of that much. But my partner's parents arrived for this, and my brother did come, and he's a very loving brother, so he was
good.
there. Yeah, so we had that, and this was our sort of like a wedding
Yeah.
celebration type of thing. So
Well, that's too bad. I was hoping I would be invited to the wedding.
okay, if this ever happens again, I'll keep it in mind. Max
Okay,
wants to be
perfect.
invited.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love weddings.
You love weddings? Oh my god.
I do. I
wow.
love weddings.
Okay. I sort of don't like weddings. So
I love weddings so much. I've been married 2 times.
oh, okay. Congrats. Okay. Yeah, that works. That works. Yeah,
So you get to Toronto, you move in, you know, your partner, she finds a job right away, bookkeeping.
at this point she's already like an accountant level. So she's accounting around, you know, Toronto, and then she's deciding, oh yeah, I think I should up my skills a bit if I want to make real career out of it. So she's starting her CPA.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and yes, and that happened. So I have like all the jobs here and there, and finally someone gets interest or approaches me about potential job at McMaster University. And this was like a printmaking technician position. So what that is that because my degrees, my art degrees are with specialization in printmaking. Not many people know exactly what printmaking is, but basically it's like making oversized stamps, right? So instead of painting, you make a matrix and then you print it on paper, right? And there are many, many ways to achieve that. But this is sort of like what I was into then.
It was
Very
your
much.
field,
And
yeah.
it was my field. Yes, it was my field and my absolute expertise. And every award that I won was sort of based on the fact that I knew this very well, and I was I invented my own technique, and people were inviting me over to sort of show them, blah blah blah. So I was known for this, and I got invited to apply for this job at McMaster University. This was only short-term contract, but I did apply, and I got the job at the end. Actually, first time I didn't get the job. My colleague got the job, but then he left, and they re-invited me as their second favorite candidate. They were like, "Hey, remember 2 years ago you wanted this job? Do you still want it?" And I'm like, "Sure." So yeah, I know this is like, because also in this field, and I'm sure your daughter knows this too, it's like when jobs come up and there are only few, right? They rarely
take
come
'em.
up. You take them, right?
Yeah.
And all the people you know, you always have to like play against your colleagues and friends because they also apply, and it's a nasty business. But I got the job, and this is what brings me to welding. Finally, this story, because I'm a happy printmaking technician there, and what it is basically means that I take care of all the studios, all the equipment there, right? And there is another person that works there as a sculpture technician, and this guy Mike. Hello, Mike, if you ever hear it. So Mike is taking care of a sculpture studio, and they have a MIG welding machine over there, right? And summer came, and in the summer, students are out when we are super bored and we have time to do improvements, right? So you can build those shelving units.
I used to be a college teacher. You can't let people know that we're bored in the summer. You can't tell people we're very busy in the summer. We're very busy.
Okay. In our case, then we made ourselves busy. We were super busy because this whole year I was waiting for to make the shelving unit for those inks, so they are not piling up. They're in the corner. So we started making things to get things organized and for students to come back and have this nice cool space to work in. And I'm like, Mike, I want to learn welding because I think if I have the skill, I can build more things and cooler things, and I will have more freedom and all that. And he's like, okay, I'll show you how to weld. Mike knew how to weld just from YouTube videos. He had no certificates. He had no expertise or proper technique, but he was a friendly guy and very enthusiastic to teach me welding. So this is what we did. One day he shows me a bit. Second day he shows me a bit, and now I'm welding sort of, right? And I welded a bunch of things for my house and for down the road, and for the school, of course, right? We made some nice cool furniture, benches for students, some desks, and then my career at McMaster ended, and I left. But the memory of this, how cool it was to weld, stayed with me. And this is like 2017, where when I left McMaster, and then I started some other jobs that were sort of odd to not artistic at all. I won some awards, so I could focus on my art. Like I won 15K just to spend on my art, so I kind of like had it
a few months there,
yeah, few months there just to sit in and do art at home. And I had some solo shows here and there, but this question of this is not enough. Whatever I'm getting out of this, it's great satisfaction, but this is not enough to support myself. If God forbid something happens to my partner, I'm probably homeless, right? So, but then with this anxiety coming back and forth, I was trying to sort of keep some jobs that were coming to me, like trying to make them
and you're scared about starting over too. You don't want to start over, right? Like
no, you don't want to start over. You don't want to start over because at this point you're like, I'm 38 and I'm like, Jesus, I spent all of those years studying this and I'm so good. Why is it that I cannot make ends meet? So I was also annoyed, and I had this part-time job then that included actually helping immigrants to move to Canada. So it was sort of perfect, and I met a lot of people, and it was fun. But it was part-time, and because of the fact that it was part-time, it allowed me to enroll in second career program. And this gave me funding for the second career, whatever I decide to do. And then I decided I want to learn welding. I want welding to be my second career, right? So I contacted this person at Conestoga, and they helped me, file all the documents to get the funding. I got the funding, and I went to school. I went back to school, and I enrolled in a LGP skills training school in Guelph, which is. Have you heard of the school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's
right.
They're part of the CWB program.
Exactly. It's one of the best schools in the region, right? And Lee and Randy, if you ever hear this, I miss you guys. You're so wonderful. Big hugs to you guys. So I went there and I enrolled in general welding, which took approximately 6 months to complete. and I learned stick, make, and TIG. I could pick sort of like where I want my tickets to go, right?
Yeah.
Like, because every time,
Do you want to go work structural, or do you want to work
exactly,
this or that,
exactly,
or
yes,
manufacturing? Yeah.
exactly, right? So they sort of had focus on the stick, but at the time I was just thinking, I just want to learn the skill. This is my focus for this school. I just want to learn the skill, and things will fall into place, right? And as I was at the end of my training there, they had iron workers come in,
Mm-hmm.
and boiler makers. So these are union folks, right? That they come over and they try to recruit beginners
Yeah.
welders, right? So
And really good jobs, good money. Yeah.
very good jobs and good money, right? And because I'm a woman, right? They basically said, "We'll just take you. Just apply, right? We'll just take you."
Mm-hmm.
And there was one black guy in the group where we were sitting there, and they basically targeted us. They targeted me and targeted him because they wanted their diversity.
Diversity.
School, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So they were like talking at us,
Mm-hmm.
just apply. We want you. We want you. So this was actually first time I experienced that my gender is actually helping me in anything, So this was very nice feeling. But because those opportunities required a lot of travel, I decided not to take those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for a job at Tiger Cup when I was still in school, and I got it with no problems because the market is open to welders. So if you're
It's
listening,
crazy right now.
it's crazy. If you're listening to it and you're wondering whether welding is a potentially good path for you when it comes to job security and all that, it is. It's amazing. It's amazing. And all of those opportunities were, especially if you're a woman, they're wide open for you. You can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just learn sometimes basic human skills, right? Get those few tickets. You can work anywhere you want.
Mm-hmm.
So this is amazing. And this is big shock after my, doing my studies that basically give me
Struggling to find work every day.
yes, give me sort of nothing. But I shouldn't say that because my artistic capabilities, right, and my hand and eye coordination that I worked for so long made me learn welding much quicker than other people. And Lee, who was my teacher in the school, said that I'm one of the best welders that came out of the school just because I have this amazing hand and eye coordination.
Yeah, they say that it's the hands of a surgeon and the brain of an artist to be a welder.
Right. Well, I believe it because, a lot of people that I know that are artistic, they do stitching, cross stitching, something else. It's very similar to welding, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of people are scared by all the
heat
risk,
and the sparks.
the risk factors. But people, this is fun. It's like staring at the sun. It's just so thrilling to be welding, and you look into this bright light. It's hypnotizing. It's amazing. It's like nothing else, to be honest.
Yeah, it isn't. So tell me, Agata, how different was the welding training you got at Conestoga College compared to what Mike taught you at the McMaster's?
Oh my God! Okay. One clarification. Conestoga just helped me get enrolled, but I actually went to LGP skills training.
Right, LGBT skills training, right?
Yes. So it was very different. First of all, there is this whole debate whether you should push or drag or. So when I went there, so this was like right away. No, this is not how you do it. And it's the welding is art. It's really, there is so much. There is so much that goes into like perfect, beautiful welding. Like when I went to the school, it's not that I thought, oh yeah, this will be easy. This will be easy peasy, and I already know how to weld. I didn't think that, but I know a lot of people, a lot of welders that, they try MIG welding and they do, and they think they think they can weld. No, you have no idea. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't lie to yourself. This is not, you know nothing.
Yeah. You don't learn this in 10 minutes. Yeah.
You do not. And I have problems saying about myself that I'm like a welder, because I know what Lee knows, right? My teacher, like those guys, they know so much about this. Like I just know the tip of the iceberg that is there, right? Or we had the second class that was in the school was pipe welding, right? Holy moly, pipe welding. This is like
a whole nother level.
A whole another level, right? A whole another level. And that they make those welds and they go and get X-rays and blah blah blah. Like this is like my tickets, all that I got, like a child's play still, right? So I know something, but I know, and I have great respect for welders that have been welding, years, and they know everything about it, or 90%. It's like I know little. I know little.
Well, nobody knows everything. I've been welding for 30 years and I don't know everything.
Well, but you probably know most, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, that's why I guess I work where I work. So
exactly. And when I did my exams and I got my tickets, it was all fun and games, and I was super proud of myself, right? I have welding tickets. And then I got myself a welding machine, and I have a thick welding machine in my basement, and I started making my things, or like projects on my own without supervision of my teachers. And oh my God, this I went back to sandbox, like trying to figure, like, because this is separate skill, like fitting, right? This is a completely separate skill, because steel has tendency to warp and expand and shrink, and you have to know what you're doing. And my short experience at Tiger Cut was illuminating in this way, because when I went there, I sort of had those tickets, right? But I didn't know how this knowledge actually applies in real life, right? So there you weld humongous parts together, right? And most of them have to be fitted first, right? Then packed, and then you weld. And the guy that was training me was a lovely guy. He was showing me, all of those tricks of because he's been there for 30 years.
Yeah, you tack here, then you tack there. So this moves here. Exactly. This is going to pull here.
Exactly. Exactly. This is something you won't learn in any school. This is a real life welding. Now you're making things, right? And they should come together in a certain way. So this is like going back to school all over again. So when I was, when I went to Tiger Cut, and I figured this is not creative enough for me, right? That's why I quit this job, and I started actually working in renovations, and then I figured maybe I should do a carpentry apprenticeship, because I love learning. See, that's sort of my thing, that I always want to have more skills.
Yeah.
To be completely sufficient and self-reliant.
Now, during all this journey with all these skills, are you still thinking art in the back of your head the whole time?
So, yes and no. Yes, I think about art because I love art, and I need this creative outlet, and I need to make something that nobody has any. I'm the boss of this thing, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me how to deliver this. how to tweak it, how to work it. This is all me and my product, and I'm responsible for all the decisions. And I'm also, awarded for everything that comes with it, right?
Yeah.
So I need this. I need to have this. But then on the side, I have two small businesses that are sort of like starting, and one of those is actually welding custom things for people, right? This is my mixta handcrafted Instagram.
Guys, I was looking at your Instagram page. There's some really interesting stuff there. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. We are only starting, so this is still sort of naked, this page, but I have more projects that I accomplished already that we're gonna post and hopefully start selling. But I want to have like a shop where I can make things for people, and of course, because it's gonna be made for people, they will inadvertently have some control over this product, right? So this I will have to sort of give up my creative freedom sometimes for the fact that they want specific thing, and I don't have full control over what it is, right?
But that's business, right?
But that's business, exactly. But that's business, as long as it gives me some money and enough for me to support myself proudly with with integrity and dignity, not breadcrumbs like I had from my art, but something really sustainable, then I will be thrilled to do it, because I do love welding. I do love to weld, and I love problem solve and all that. And in this business, I feel like I will be able to do that all the time. And this is sort of like my dream. And this was sort of initially my plan for this, is to learn welding, go and practice something, and then start my own thing.
Now, did you also, you said, like I interrupted you earlier, but you also studied carpentry.
Yes, I started my carpentry apprenticeship, but it never went anywhere because another artistic opportunity came along 2 months ago when University of Guelph invited me to be their sculpture technician for short contract. So I sort of stopped this, and maybe I'll be going back to University of Guelph as a permanent sculpture technician. But this
that would be a very cool job.
The 2 months I was there, I loved it, and they have big welding slash steel metal shop, and it's amazing. And I would be in charge of it, and I would be in charge of teaching students, basic welding skills.
And you could teach them properly because you learned properly.
Exactly. And the previous guy that was working there knew how to weld, but this was like similar situation, right? To I know how to weld. And that's, you know nothing. I know something, so I at least can recognize when the weld is bad.
I love that. You know nothing.
Yes. You think you're a welder, but you are not. Yes. Have respect for welders. I don't like when people think they. Especially when it comes to trades, they think, oh, everybody can do that. No, man. No. And with woodworking is the same thing. People look at something and they think, oh, I can I just need a drill and table saw and a miter saw and I will do it. No, try it.
Yeah, you'll probably screw up.
You will most likely screw up, right?
Yeah.
The same, and it's even more so with welding. It's like you need to know a few things to make something solid that it's not wobbly and it's nice and square and looks beautiful. So yes.
And that takes us up to today. You got your company, and I look at Mixta, and first of all, what does Mixta mean?
Mixta is just a play on words and just finding like a nice original word that sort of encapsulates mixture of things. It's basically mixture. We coming up with original name is
it's tough.
It's tough. This is like a challenge in itself, especially nowadays. You're trying to input all of those things into Instagram or other social media, this name is taken, this name is taken. And sometimes the name you come up with seems so just arbitrary and abstract. And yet somebody thought of this already, Anyway, yeah, so makes
And
sense
then
like a
and then
mixture
it says
because,
here that you have two artists bringing joy to people. So who's the other artist?
so see now I'll share this interesting thing with you that you don't know yet. I'm ticking several diversity boxes because on top of being a lesbian, I'm also polyamorous. I
Okay.
live with two partners right now. I live in a throuple. So
Okay.
one of my partners is a CPA, and the other one is an artist, and we work together in this small business that we have.
And what type of art background does your other partner have?
Maria. So Maria is originally from Colombia, and she also we have pretty similar backgrounds. Actually, she did like a BFA full program in Colombia, and then she moved to Canada and started carpentry, actually Conestoga program. Right. So yes, I know. So and she arrived at this exactly the same route. She was like, I have this fabulous art degree, but besides, hanging it in a frame, it gives me very little. So what do I do now? So, and she figured, oh, I love working with tools. Maybe I will start carpentry, right? So she did that, and she's been working as a carpenter for a while, but she might, depending on how this business, goes, because eventually what we want is we want a freedom, right? We want to be, yes, self-reliant, and we want to have a business of our own. We want to be our own bosses. This would be a dream come true. So depending on how this business goes, we might just quit carpentry altogether and just focus on making things with me.
Well, I hope that you guys can get enough business. I mean, there are so many success stories across Canada that I'm sure you can find the space. You know what I mean?
I agree. And, when we are doing our research, I know the market is not saturated. And in fact, try to find a welder, like you don't have to because you're a welder. But if you are like a regular person and you need a welder to weld you something, it's very hard to find someone that's like out there and doing custom things.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
So there is a need for this, for sure. And Maria is not a welder, but she can do other beautiful things. And we definitely can make it work. And like I strongly believe there is a space for us, in the world,
Yeah.
and where people may find our products are exactly what they need, and we can, not only survive on this, but maybe thrive.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you're an intelligent and creative person, you have to keep adjusting to whatever happens, right? And I've been doing this, and I'm just so grateful that my path took me towards welding, and being able to do it with the support of a second career program. It would be so hard to do it otherwise, and it was so easy to do it that way. If you're listening to this and you're considering this path for yourself, there are ways to even get training for you free, or for with the help
Partly
of
paid, yeah.
or partly, yes. And at the end, you will have a career, because
Right away.
right away. Yeah, people will basically kiss your two cheeks, if you're a welder, and they'll be happy to see you, and you will feel like you're needed.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people just want to be respectful or respected, and feel
Appreciated. Yeah.
appreciated and relevant, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is
So
definitely the career that gives that. Yeah.
so with your path, and I want to talk about the the lives that you build, you, your partner, not your other partner, the throuple, how this path was, I guess, how it was perceived by each place you went to. You leave Poland, it's not open to
Hmm.
LGBTQ. I worked in Russia in 2019, and it's
Oh wow,
illegal. It's
it's
illegal there,
illegal. It's
right? My
dangerous.
brother-in-law is gay. I grew up around drag queens and gay people, well, just the way my family is, and the
Awesome.
it's just the world I grew up in. So for me, it's very normal. But
Yes.
for some people, like in Russia, it's illegal. And I remember me getting into arguments, being there, like being like, how is this the thing? How is this?
Yes.
How can a
Yes.
country decide that this is wrong? Okay, maybe you're just one angry person. Maybe it's wrong for you. I don't care.
Mm.
But how does
Yes.
a country decide? When they say anywhere from 25 to 30% of the population is gay or lesbian, most of them hidden in fear. So if you think that in a room of 10 people, there's at least 3 to 4 people in that room that
That are
you are
queer.
some that are queer, that you're somehow
Hmm.
going to, hurt with your decision, why would you do that? So you,
Well, this is interesting question, and you know what? What came to my mind when I was thinking about it, when I was reflecting on why Poland is so homophobic, is that because of this long history of communism, right? Like in communism, like I mentioned, everybody was sort of like poor,
Mhm,
there was nothing, and and people tried to all be the same,
mhm,
because if you attract too much attention, it's actually dangerous to you, right? So then everybody that's sort of different than everybody else stays hidden because it's dangerous, right? Because you know communism, right?
mhm.
And when people stay hidden, the majority of people that at the end of the day are not queer, they think that this is the norm. This is the normal.
That they're
This
supposed to be hidden.
they're supposed to be hidden, or they're not existent. Or we don't
Yeah.
have gay people in Russia, right?
Mhm.
And you just get used to it, and when you put those people in hiding, uh, you take all the dignity from them, right? And when
Yeah.
you then in when you then come across of someone that's like that, you're scared, and you don't seem to have any respect for someone that's just scared of you just off the bat. And
Yeah.
plus there is this whole thing, internalized homophobia, right? When a whole bunch of people tell you there is something wrong with you, you start to believe it, right? And when you grow up with this idea that you're there is something wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
You don't think you deserve respect, or you don't think you deserve freedom, or recognition,
Or to be happy.
or to be happy, or
Yeah.
the basic desire, right? Human desires to have some type of level
Love.
of happiness and
Yeah.
love in their life. So this is what happens when you basically keep all the diversity in hiding, and you don't encounter those people ever. Like in Poland, and also that's why Poland was racist for so long, because
Mhm.
when I grew up, did we have races? No. Why? Because there was nobody that had different race,
Yeah.
right?
There's
If
no
we
one
were
to be
all
racist
white,
of. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So this is something you cannot see, because those people are not there, and the same with homophobia, and the same with everything else. So when this person shows up, everybody stares at them,
Mhm.
right, and doesn't know what to do. And then people start looking around and see who will be the first one to do
To say
something.
something.
And
Yeah.
yes, and who's the first one that usually says something? It's a bully, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the people that just don't know what to do, they just follow, right? Because
Yeah.
they don't know what to do. So
So,
I think, yeah,
then you compare that to Ireland, where you met your partner, and then, you know, did you feel like in Ireland you were completely free? Did you feel like you are now like could be completely honest with who you were, or was it still some feeling of having to stay, hidden.
No, in Ireland we felt very safe. Irish
Good.
people overall, we think of them as super friendly, gentle people. In Ireland, weirdly enough, we felt more that we are immigrants. We are more, we are less tolerated at some point because of the fact that we are not Irish and not because we are lesbians.
Right.
And this was also
that was like above that list.
Yes, yes, that was definitely above, because Irish people are very
nationalist.
Yeah, they they love Ireland. They're very patriotic, and if you're born in Ireland but you have black skin, like, you cannot say you're Irish. Like, this is silly, right? For them, I don't know. Maybe this changed, but this was sort of like the feeling we had, that we will never feel they're equal to Irish people. And when we came to Canada, this was actually very nice surprise for us to see that, Canada has all of those immigrants and they feel like at home, they contribute.
It's all immigrants
they're
here.
Happy. Exactly. So we were like, yeah, finally, we feel safe as lesbians. Finally, we feel safe as immigrants. We should stay here. And that's why we stayed here. And we love Canada. And all of the opportunities we had and we used since we got here are amazing. My partner came as a bookkeeper, now is a CPA, makes a lot of money, and is extremely happy in her career. And I have all of those other things that I have going, and I could train myself in this beautiful trade. And I could find job anytime if I wanted. Right now, be a welder. I know,
and be okay. Yeah.
And I would be totally fine. So my anxiety about being homeless because something happens to my partner is completely gone, because I have this amazing skill now in my pocket that I can use anytime.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Of course, that being said, I know not everybody is happy in Canada. I don't want people to feel invalidated if they feel their lives are not going.
Yeah.
If they're struggling.
But this is your story. This is your story.
This is my story. This is our story.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful story full of successes. And if you stay open, if you want to learn, and if you want to pursue all of those things, things will come to you, right? You will get rewarded for, putting the work and staying humble, And I think that's what we did. We every time thought, okay, maybe to get something more, we have to give it more, right? Maybe we have to up our skills, right? And yeah.
Now, for Maria to come in and meet the two of you, she must have been like, "What is happening here?"
Well, this could be a separate podcast, to be honest. Yes, this how this all happened and all that, but
it wasn't at the bus station again, was it?
No, it wasn't at the bus station. We Maria and I met online, and we sort of found this connection because of all the history we have, right? Like, she's an artist, I'm an artist. She's in trades now, I'm in trades now. Blah blah blah. She wants to have her business, I want to have my business. Blah blah blah. So we started chatting, and she's a lovely person. So my partner naturally was eventually open to give her a chance, and they developed their feelings for each other separate from me and Maria, and it's very weird and strange, and you cannot,
and wonderful.
Sort of, we couldn't plan it, This just happened. It was not really planned. It just happened, and it's definitely wonderful. But it's one of those things that, if you stay open and you just want to relate to people and get to know them, and then you let things happen naturally, they might happen, and then you can accept them or you can reject those feelings or things that happen. But all three of us are very open people, because we lived in so many places. And like I said, Maria is from Colombia, right? So she also has this experience of being an immigrant. Colombia, we visited Colombia like a few weeks ago, which was amazing. And then there is sort of like walking in Colombia actually was like walking in Poland in the 90s, right? Like sidewalks are so uneven. There are humongous holes in sidewalks. You have to be careful where you're walking. People are sort of like grumpy. They have this sort of demeanor, like you should not smile at random people in the street because they will think you're crazy. This reminded me Poland so much. So there is this cultural overlap as well between Colombia and Poland that seems sort of like very natural and just there. It's not forced looking for connection. It's just really strange to be there and think, oh wow, this is like when I was a teenager. It's just feels so familiar. It was crazy.
Well,
So,
I think she was planning on being on the show, but I speak Spanish. I'm from Chile, right? So I'm from Chile. I was born in Chile. I'm an immigrant as well. So, I could have spoken in Spanish. We could have done a whole show in Spanish.
Oh my. Well, listen, if you want, I can talk to her again and maybe she'll do it with you separate. The reason we figured that we might not be coherent together, she'll be talking over me or I'll be talking over her, and her experience in itself is also like very interesting, and she could probably write a book. So I don't know if 1 hour would be enough to cover both of our stories.
No, but this has been fantastic. This has been fantastic. So yeah. And, just to wrap up the interview, because it's been really, really enlightening. And, this is Pride Month. We're going to release this during Pride Month. And,
nice.
And Pride Month is Pride Month to me is two things. It's one good and one kind of bad in a way. For me, the fact that we have to have a Pride Month is like, why? Yes. We should just be happy and loving and open all the time. Yes. But then I remember that sometimes it takes time for systems to change. You have old systems that take time to change. So Pride Month is important because it's a time for us to educate people and to teach people. And, for people to listen to a story like yours to say, it's really just about wanting to live. You just want to live like anybody else, right? Exactly.
At the end of the day, whether I'm a woman, lesbian, or whatever, live in a throuple, I'm not that different from the average guy that walks on the street and just wants to be happy and wants to do his thing and be respected and be, feel relevant and all that. This is very much how we are all the same, and people should just remember that as weird as some of the choices other people make can seem, at the end we all want the same thing. Just want to be loved and happy, right?
Yeah. So let's end with a couple questions. 2 questions. First question, what would you say to someone who is looking to immigrate to Canada as an immigrant? Perhaps they're unsure about, the field. They may have studied something back home, but usually you come to Canada, you're going to have to study some more. Yes. What would you recommend for them to do when they land here in terms of perhaps work or studies?
What would I recommend them to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, everything would depend on what the goals are for those people. But even working for this company that was bringing immigrants to Canada, like, you're forced to actually, this is good because Maria's friend is living with us. She just moved to Canada like a month ago, and we figured we'll help her with accommodation because it's so hard to get, to first get secure accommodation when you come to Canada, right? Because
it's expensive.
It's expensive. You need a job, you need references, blah blah blah. You need bank account, all of this. Before you have all of those things, you have to stay somewhere, right, and feel safe. So what we did, and this is maybe good suggestions for some people, is when we were moving to Canada, we basically Googled rooms for rent, and we found this delightful gay guy, Travis, that took us in, right? We started living with him immediately when we arrived in Edmonton, and this was an amazing experience because he's Canadian. He could introduce us to this culture. He could show us, the ropes, everything. So having this type of entry point is great. If you can get contact with the community, someone you would relate to, whether it's a LGBTQ member, if you are also LGBTQ, or if it's I don't know, someone from Chile, if you're Chilean,
Yeah,
right?
your culture. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, your culture, your language. If you can sort of find people that can help you and explain things to you, right? Do this. A lot of people do deep dive research into like, what should I do first the thing when I arrive in Canada, right? You need SIN number, you need bank account, you need this and that, you need health insurance, right?
Hmm.
Also, depending on is who you are arriving to Canada. Are you, student visa holder, or are you PR, permanent resident, right? Or are you on something else?
Like,
I don't know.
or exiled refugee. Like we were exiled, so yeah,
Exactly, or as a refugee, right? So
yeah.
depending on all of those, your path will be a little bit different. But there are plenty of resources for newcomers to Canada to sort of figure this out. YMCA is a great resource for people to go and ask. Carolina, now the girl that lives with us, first thing she did was to go to YMCA and sign up for English lessons, right?
Hmm.
You know, there are a lot of programs and help for people for free, different times of the day, so you can also work and study. There are a lot of ways to sort of like build your life in Canada. The most important is to go and ask right people, right? And to do your research. Don't wait until something happens for you. Go and do it, right?
Perfect. And the last question to wrap it up is about the LGBTQ community. You know, as an advocate yourself, what do you see as your future in terms of the community, what you do with your business, how you establish yourself, your future? What is it that you plan to do going forward?
Uh, my so we do mention on our profile for Instagram that we are LGBTQ business, because we do want to reach our community, and we also, as we are customers as well, we try to support our businesses that are LGBTQ. And what I see for myself is basically continuing this path. And honestly, I would dream about that by the time I'm, old, we don't separate people that much. We're just one happy bunch of people that
Mhm.
are open to different experiences. We don't have to be naming million genders or sexualities. We're just all happy family that
Yeah. Nobody cares.
nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. This would be my dream, that nobody cares. Like, the young people that are much younger than us right now, they don't seem to care that much. You'll tell them someone is gay, they're like, okay,
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
yeah, whatever, yeah, sure, because that's really what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It'd be like
It's like,
someone saying, "Hey, you're straight."
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Or,
Who cares?
hey, you're blonde.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Because at the end of the day, how this affects you, right?
Yeah.
Or me,
Zero.
or
Yeah.
whoever. Yeah, zero. The only way it affects us, we have someone becomes a potential pool for us to date. That's it. you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Agata, this has been wonderful. I really appreciate hearing your story, and you're fun. You've been a fantastic interview.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much for saying that. I was sort of nervous, and I'm happy how this turned out, and I hope it's gonna be nice listen for some people, at least something entertaining.
Yeah. Any shout outs for anybody? You want to say hello or send anybody any shout outs?
I definitely want to say hello to my two beautiful partners, Maria and Alexandra. I love you very much. I also want to thank again Lee and Randy, the guys who taught me welding. This beautiful, amazing skill that every time I weld, I appreciate more and more. And everybody, and there is a whole range of people that help me, keep helping me every day. My neighbors, people from my community. I'm just so grateful to every proof of kindness or something that I get every day. I'm just so grateful for my life in Canada. I'm delighted. Thank you so much for having me again. And yes, good luck with the next one, I guess, right?
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Max. Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
And for all the people that have been watching and following along and being a part of this, please, check out the Mixed web Instagram page, Mixed Handcrafted on Instagram. We'll be sharing all the information with the podcast when it gets released. And also make sure you get out there and show some support for the communities around you. It's an important time of year. Get out there, give some hugs, give some, some smiles, and just make sure that you make everyone around you feel as comfortable as you wish you felt. And we'll make the world a better place. So
Absolutely.
Thank you all. Keep downloading the episodes and stay tuned for the next one.
We hope you enjoyed the show.